Playing with Power MTG. Powerful cards, powerful formats. We are back with another Legacy match. We will have all kinds of great Legacy gameplay coming to you over the next few months, so be sure to like this video and subscribe to get notified of when we publish more. Also, if you want to support more Legacy content, check out our Patreon to see if there is a tier for you. We also have merchandise like dice, coins, tokens, sleeves, and playmats at our merch store. Support us and get some awesome merchandise in return. To get the latest updates on Playing with Power, be sure to check out our social media. Follow us on Twitter, check us out on Facebook, and find us on TikTok. Now, let's start out by showcasing our fighters this evening. First, we have Drake piloting Mono White Initiative. Wait a minute, wasn't White Plume Adventurer banned from Legacy just a few weeks ago? Well, yes it was. We recorded this video before the banning, and we still thought it was a good game, so we are airing it anyway. This deck seeks to try and cast an initiative card as fast as possible to snowball advantage and win the game. Drake's opening hand contains a Lotus Petal, Ancient Tomb, City of Traders, Caracas, Elite Spellbinder, Chrome Mox, and a White Plume Adventurer. Next, we have Ashani piloting Eldrazi Stompy. This deck uses Eldrazi lands and fast mana to ramp up into huge threats that close out the game quickly. Ashani's opening hand contains 2 Dismember, Thought-Knot Seer, Reality Shaper, Endless One, Ancient Tomb, and an Eldrazi Temple. Without further ado, let's kick off this gleeful glistening glitzy glare. Drake won the Lip Glue Challenge and gets to start us off. Drake plays an Ancient Tomb for turn. He casts a Lotus Petal. He taps his Ancient Tomb to help cast White Plume Adventurer. It enters, Drake takes the initiative, venturing into the Undercity's first room, fetching up a Plains into his hand. Drake passes. Ashani draws, plays an Eldrazi Temple, and passes. During his upkeep, Drake ventures into the Forge, targeting Plume Adventurer. In response, Ashani pays 4 life to help cast Dismember, giving Adventurer -5/-5, killing it. Drake draws and plays a Plains. He taps his Ancient Tomb to help cast Elite Spellbinder. It enters, Ashani reveals his hand, exiling Thought-Knot Seer. Drake ends his turn. Ashani draws and plays a Mishra's Factory. He casts a Matter Reshaper. Ashani gives the turn to Drake. During his upkeep, Drake ventures into the Trap Room and Ashani loses 5 life. He draws and moves to combat. He attacks Ashani with Elite Spellbinder. Ashani takes it, and in his second main phase, Drake plays a Caracas. He taps his Ancient Tomb to help cast Palace Jailer. It enters, Drake becomes the Monarch, and he exiles Matter Reshaper. Drake moves to his end step, draws from the Monarch, and passes to Ashani. Ashani draws and plays a City of Traders. He casts Endless One, where X equals 4. It enters with 4+1/+1 counters, and Ashani sends it back to Drake. During his upkeep, Drake ventures into the Archive Room, drawing a card. He draws and plays a City of Traders. He channels Touch the Spirit Realm, exiling Endless One. He taps his Ancient Tomb to help cast Seasoned Dungeoneer. It enters, Drake takes the initiative, venturing into the Throne of the Dead 3 room. He reveals the top 10 of his library, putting Elite Spellbinder onto the battlefield. Spellbinder enters, Ashani reveals his hand, exiling Dismember. Drake moves to combat and attacks Ashani with Palace Jailer and Elite Spellbinder. Seasoned Dungeoneer triggers, giving Elite Spellbinder protection from creatures until the end of turn. Drake explores, revealing a Lotus Petal into his graveyard, giving Spellbinder a +1/+1 counter. Ashani takes it, and Drake moves to his end step. He draws from the Monarch, and then Endless One re-enters the battlefield and dies, as it's now a 0/0. The turn moves to Ashani. Ashani draws and plays an Ancient Tomb. He casts Walking Ballista, where X equals 1. Ashani ends his turn. During his upkeep, Drake ventures into the Undercity's first room, fetching up a Plains into his hand. He draws and plays a Plains. He moves to combat and attacks Ashani with everything. Seasoned Dungeoneer triggers, targeting itself. It gains protection from creatures, and Drake explores. He reveals Athalia, Guardian of Thraben, leaving it on top, giving Dungeoneer a counter. Ashani takes it all, dies, and Drake wins the game. Before Game 2, Drake moves to sideboard. He brings in 4 Swords to Plowshares and 2 Blessed Alliance to deal with bigger creatures. He removes 4 Chalice of the Void and 2 Thalias. Ashani also moves to sideboard. He brings in 2 Warping Whale and a Karn, Scion of Urza, for card advantage and to have blockers against Drake. He removes 3 Once Upon a Time. In this game, Ashani's opening hand contains a City of Traders, Chalice of the Void, Eldrazi Mimic, Simian Spirit Guide, Walking Ballista, Mishra's Factory, and a Matter Reshaper. In this game, Drake's opening hand contains the Swords to Plowshares, Palace Jailer, Iganjo, Seed of the Empire, City of Traders, and his 3 London Mulligans are Walking Ballista, Emeria's Call, and a Chrome Mox. And Ashani gets to start us off. Ashani plays a City of Traders for turn. He casts Chalice of the Void, where X equals 0. He casts an Eldrazi Mimic and passes the turn. Drake draws and plays an Iganjo, Seed of the Empire, as his land for turn. Drake passes. Ashani draws and floats mana from City of Traders. He plays a Cavern of Souls, naming Eldrazi as it enters. City of Traders triggers, and Ashani sacrifices it. He exiles Simian Spirit Guide from his hand, adding a red. He casts Walking Ballista, where X equals 2. Eldrazi Mimic triggers and becomes a 2/2 until the end of turn. He moves to combat and attacks Drake with his Mimic. Drake takes it, and Ashani passes. At the end of Ashani's turn, Drake casts Swords to Plowshares, targeting Walking Ballista. In response, Ashani activates Walking Ballista twice, dealing 2 to Drake. The turn moves to Drake. Drake draws and plays Emeria, the Shattered Skyclave, into play tapped. Drake sends it back to Ashani. Ashani draws and plays a Mishra's Factory. He moves to combat and attacks Drake with his Mimic. Drake takes it, and Ashani ends his turn. Drake draws and plays a City of Traitors. He casts Palace Jailer. It enters, and Drake becomes the Monarch. Jailer triggers and exiles Eldrazi Mimic. Drake passes, drawing from the Monarch. Ashani draws and casts Chalice of the Void, where X equals 1. Ashani passes. Drake draws and casts Seasoned Dungeoneer. It enters, and Drake takes the initiative, venturing into the secret entrance, fetching up a Plains into his hand. He plays a Plains for turn. City of Traitors triggers, and Drake sacrifices it. Drake passes, draws from the Monarch, and gives the turn to Ashani. Ashani draws, takes no actions, and passes. During his upkeep, Drake ventures into the Forge, putting 2+1/+1 counters onto Palace Jailer. He draws and moves to combat. He attacks Ashani with everything. Dungeoneer triggers, targeting itself. Drake explores, revealing another Seasoned Dungeoneer, leaving it on top and giving Dungeoneer a counter. Ashani takes it, and in his second main phase, Drake plays an Ancient Tomb. He passes, drawing from the Monarch. Ashani draws and activates Mishra's Factory, turning it into a creature. He moves to combat and attacks Drake with Factory to try and steal the Monarch and initiative. In response, Drake flashes in a Solitude. Solitude enters and exiles Mishra's Factory. Ashani gains 2, and seeing the writing on the wall, passes back to Drake. During his upkeep, Drake ventures into the Trap Room, and Ashani loses 5 life. He draws and plays a City of Traitors. He moves to combat and attacks Ashani with everything. Dungeoneer triggers, targeting itself. Drake explores, revealing a City of Traitors into his hand. Ashani declares no blocks, dies, and Drake wins the game. Ladies and gentlemen, what a match. Congrats to Drake on his win. We can see the power of the initiative and how quickly it can spiral out of control. It was a mechanic never designed for 1v1 formats, and now we know why it had to be nerfed in Legacy. Turn 1 creatures that ramp and turn into 5/5s, explore, and hit opponents for a quarter of their life is too strong a mechanic for the 60 card formats. We hope you enjoyed this Legacy match. Would you have played something differently? What deck would you like to see next? Let us know in the comments below. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode. Be sure to like the video and subscribe for more Legacy content. Also, check out our Patreon and consider supporting us to ensure we keep bringing you more great gameplay. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.